Tell me, what makes SPE Offshore Europe such a special and important event?
I think SP is a well-known organization to really build a network between the oil and gas professionals and organize very successful exhibitions and congresses. And there is always a lot of expectation from the public about the quality of the papers, the quality of the exhibition that they are going to find. OE17, on top of that, arrives just after a difficult period for the industry. The industry was at risk, and I think it's particularly interesting to see how the actors and operators and supply chain have reacted and tried to adapt to the new environment.
40 papers regarding technology and innovation are going to be presented during the technical sessions of Offshore Europe this year. How important a role do you think Offshore Europe plays in promoting and discussing these new technologies?
First, it's important for the persons or the team who are going to present a paper at the technical sessions. It's a recognition that they have issued a real innovation and that they have the opportunity to present it. The persons attending the technical session, they expect a very high quality, they expect very relevant papers, and they expect to be able to raise questions and even take an appointment with the presenter for further discussions. So it's a very interactive system with very high quality presentation of innovations.
So, what are some of the smarter ways that you've seen firms rise to the recent challenges over the past couple of years?
I think it took a few years for the industry to understand that there was a need for real transformation. And how to achieve this transformation, it will take time, but how to start this transformation, some companies understood that first they had to engage their workforce. Get this workforce accepting but even adhering and creating the opportunities to work differently. It had to be a right balance for the companies between promoting still the UKCS, promoting investment, continuing the employment, research, going for modernization of the industry, and at the same time the efforts made by the workforce in order to create the opportunity to reduce the costs and increase the efficiency of the production. Aside this workforce engagement, I have to say that some companies have clearly identified that to analyze where they had to improve, they had to go for some real new technologies of data analysis, learning machines, digital. And I think this has been the second beginning of the transformation.
And you've seen that yourself. You've seen that coming through.
Yes, and I think that, some companies have been faster than the other, but now the majority of the companies have taken this track and workforce engagement, and at the same time modernizing the way they were operating. Yeah.
Tell me about some of the smartest ways that you've seen companies reacting to, the fairly tough challenges of the past couple of years.
Yeah, the companies had realized that they needed a real transformation and how to start this transformation. And the first really smart reaction was how to do the best with the workforce, how to get the workforce adhering, helping, developing cost reduction, changing their way of operating and creating more efficiency. And I think this engagement of the workforce has been quite successful. To be successful, it requires a good balance. I mean, at the same time, the management has to commit on continuity on employment, continuity on research, development, on spending money, investment. And at the same time, the workforce will certainly adapt and will react and has reacted positively in order to really implement the cost reduction, create new ideas, and doing that with a high knowledge that the workforce has of its job.
Because I suppose, yes, back OE15, people were already talking about the changes that had to be made, and nobody really knew what the industry would be like in 2 years' time. Here we are now at OE17, and you have seen changes with your own eyes. You've seen that change happen within the industry over the past 2 years.
Yes, it's not really a good thing to change when you are in crisis, but it's better to change when it's more, I would say, comfortable. But everything, in fact, was prepared for that. Even when we speak about new technology, everybody knew that we had to use digital. Everybody knew that we have a large data set in North Sea where we could extract value from that. The crisis has forced the company to really jump into a new mode, to apply these new technologies, to consider that how I can identify the loss of production, how I can identify the disruption in the planning by collecting the data and analyzing them in a smart way. And I think that at the same time that the workforce has been engaged, the company had to bring also the new tools to really progress very quickly on that.
Is it possible to identify a new technology which could potentially bring around a breakthrough in the UKCS?
If we speak about the future of the UKCS, at very short term, there are old production stopping, installation to be decommissioned. But the future of the UKCS will really be linked to exploration success. And there are some prospectivity here on many horizons, still geological horizon I'm speaking. Yeah, but it's high risk, and the cost to drill is always very high. Despite the reduction of costs, I have to say it remains capital intensive and risky to perform exploration in the North Sea. In order to mitigate the risk or to reduce the risk, there are new technologies coming now, coming first by data analysis, collecting all the data worldwide, because some geological horizon you find it in another country, and the geology doesn't know the border. And very important to collect, to analyze, and try to reduce these risks. And it's not only that, seismic innovation in order to identify where to drill, or really where could be located the potential reservoir, machine learning, all that, and fluid prediction. Sometimes very important to know if the fluid can be oil or gas. It depends a lot, it impacts a lot the economy of your development. So there are really typical innovations which could assist to mitigate the risk in exploration. And this will really help to incentivize the exploration. This could be the breakthrough in UKCS. Yeah.
While we're talking about future years of the UKCS, we do hear a lot of mention now about the small pools, which could hold the key to the future.
Yeah, there has been discoveries in the UKCS since 10 years. Small size prospect, what we call small size fields. In order to be able to develop them, we need to pool them. It's why we speak about small pools. It's in fact pool of small fields. But so the other challenge is that is to make a discovery, but the size of the discovery is not big enough to go for the traditional conventional development. The solution really coming more and more in UKCS is to develop by subsea tieback, what we call subsea tieback. There are still many platforms to host and receive this tieback. But the subsea requires also new technology. It's still the very, very efficient, cost-effective development. But you cannot just put in subsea all the fluids, all type of reservoirs. There is problem of temperature, there is problem of pressure, of quality of the fluid. So there are many innovations now coming on the market with, for instance, having all electrical subsea and manifolds, having subsea hub power, having subsea storage, subsea processing, all this technology will further reduce the cost and allow to develop these small pools or this pool of small fields, either connected to a platform or what is even more challenging, connecting to shore. The Lagan Tormore fields have shown that we could connect with a very long tieback fields subsea to shore directly. And gradually, if the number of platforms decrease because of the decommissioning, I have to say that we will have to do more and more long tieback to shore. But the technologies are almost there. Big efforts should be made by the operators to test them and use them in the future for the development.
And of course, the subsea developments that you're talking about we'll be hearing a lot more of during Offshore Europe, because subsea features quite heavily in the technical sessions, doesn't it?
Yeah, there are at least 8 sessions dedicated to subsea, with a lot of innovations, a lot of experience also on the subsea development. So of course, this is really a high technical point of the program, and I encourage everybody to go, because I mean that really this is the future. I have the strong vision that the UKCS production will be mainly subsea, and to do that we all need together to progress and test these technologies and succeed to have performant pilots that you can demonstrate that they can be used and commercialized.
One of the technical sessions will be looking specifically at reducing inspection costs of ageing installations. How hopeful are you that we'll see these technologies and changes being adapted and implemented by the operators?
Alors, first, where does it come from? I mean, it comes from the analysis by the operators where they could reduce their operating costs. And this was important because with the drop of the oil price, I mean, that the reduction of the operating costs was the only way to really survive. And the analysis had demonstrated that for aged installations, so end of field life, the money spent to perform the inspections, repair, and having planned shutdowns, so reduction of the production revenues during these works, was very costly. And the Technology Leadership Board, already 3 years ago, had correctly identified that we had to find new technologies in order to prevent this major shutdown, where you have to inspect the vessels by entering into the vessels, which are also very risky operations for the people and very costly. So these technologies have been championed by the Technology Leadership Board, then by OGA, and now they are developed by OGTC. And what we see several pilots this year, which are performed by OGTC with some operators. And if they are successful, in a very short time, 2-3 years, this technology could be on the market, and they will reduce drastically the cost. The target that we have is about a reduction of 50% of the inspection campaigns. Well, this is very important to succeed on that. The reduction of the operating cost will allow you to postpone the cessation of production and postpone the decommissioning. So this is really all the works done by the industry in order to maximize the economic recovery, the MER UK, and extend the field life.